Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Challenge All Stars 5 Rivals RHAP podcast for episode 4. I am Brian Cohen. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lasher. How are you?
I just was doing a little club remix with my light before we got on. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, I'm worried about this season. I'm worried. This is not good.
We're just having fun.
This is not great. It's not great. It's not great, Bob. Not great.
Want to hear a funny story that has nothing to do with the episode?
Please.
Okay, sure. There's time. I was like, maybe I'll say it at the end. Then I watched the episode. I was like, we can open with it.
Lead it.
So I was at a wedding this weekend in the Cayman Islands. It was my boyfriend's brother's wedding. And his mom comes up to me and goes, I didn't know you had you have a podcast. I said, well, he certainly doesn't take an interest in it. So there's no way he told her. So how do you know about this? Like, like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm very uncomfortable when anyone asks me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently one of the groom's coworkers' daughters, his two daughters, allegedly listen to this podcast. I don't know if they make it to All Stars, but shout out to the Swirlies who made me look slightly legitimate.
That's amazing.
And also embarrassed me.
That's so fun. So they listen or they listened, like past tense?
They somehow my name got thrown in the mix and they know, they were like, oh, I know the podcast.
Amazing. How fun. Love to see it.
So, the reach is deep. I don't know.
We have many
listeners of this podcast, like the All Stars edition of this podcast, but shout out to the dedicated listeners humiliating me poolside.
The groom's daughter. Wait, it was the
it's some you know who you are or you don't, and all of this was some like ruse.
Mm-hmm.
Rouge.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ruse.
So you didn't like this episode?
I mean, look, I enjoy watching the challenge. Like, I enjoyed myself. I was just like, oh, so we're just doing this game again. And it's like the same thing. The rope and dope of who goes in. Tease who was going to go home the episode before. Fessel still making bad moves. We still don't know where Amber wants. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it. I like the show. I'm always going to like it, but I just wish it was better.
I still don't know what happes if a non-star holder wins the elimination.
Well, that we know.
Do you know? So if two non-star holders go into the elimination, they can steal a star.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just don't know if there's...
I would like to see it. I would like to see some different version of this.
They are
even
discussed. If two stars go against each other, you could place the star. That's their impression. We don't know that for a fact. Like, that was the discussion that Fessel was having with Devin and Leroy. Yes, but the star could just float into the netherworld. We don't know.
Yeah, so I just fully lost audio there, but I was able to follow from the context clues of like, we don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think, and I feel like maybe we've said this in seasons past, like, it's hard almost to come off of a season 40, like a challenge proper season, especially an epic season like 40, and come into All Stars so quickly. And when All Stars is starting out like this, like, because I don't want to speak for everyone, but I feel like a lot of us still have our challenge proper energy. We're coming right into All Stars. We expect the same level of show, strategy, whatever. But it's really taken till episode 4 for me to just like take a beat, take a breath, and be like, all right, you know what? Mitch watched the whole season. Like you do with Traders. Like, it's just a fun time.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. And it feels like this season, I'm not like season 40 of the challenge was nothing to the intensity that was like Heroes Villains of Survivor. But that was another major landmark season of another reality show. And the season after that, Nicaragua, I can never say that correctly, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
But that season was, however you say it, that season was probably one of the worst of the challenges. Very weird winner. There's lots of weird stuff going on. It wasn't a great season. A lot of that might have just been like the hangover from Heroes Villains. I kind of feel like we're in that boat here. I was excited about this cast. It seemed like a fun cast. I'm enjoying the people. It's like I'm still enjoying having these people back. And even though people want to dog on season 40, it was still a huge monumental season that they did pour a lot into. That this does feel like, especially not having any sort of break in between, a little bit like a challenge hangover season.
Yeah, and Survivor Nicaragua didn't come here to expect to catch strays, but it did. So sorry to Jordan Kalish, but yeah, I would like you at some point to do an interview, just more work for you, less work for me. With like, I'd love to ask some questions of someone in casting,
and
that goes more to like the 41 preview, which is available to listeners with Brian and Mike Bloom.
Yes,
And I'd like to ask someone, I'd like to talk to someone who edited this season, because yes, it does feel like a drop off, maybe, and just like maybe just a normal expected drop off. Like this is sort of the Challenge All Stars does come in a different kind of tone or spirit, and is quicker and is sort of like the shorter, less intense version of Challenge proper. So like that's sort of by design. But I also have questions of like, was this particularly rushed? Was this particularly under-resourced? Like, why does the edit feel so strange? It's not just to us, to like, we're getting that feedback constantly week after week from the audience that it feels rushed. There's like things like chopped out of order that are hard to follow. Like, it's hard. Of course, if you got the opportunity to interview an editor, I wouldn't say like, why is this so challenging? But I would like to hear sort of like the story of how this season specifically came to be, because it doesn't feel like it's just because it's All Stars. It feels like maybe there was, I don't know, maybe they needed to take 5 years with All Stars 4 and they could have given a little bit more time to All Stars 5, but I'm resigned to just choosing to enjoy it.
Yeah, I've already made the determination this is not going to be that great of a season. So now my expectations are low. And I'm just going to go in and I'm going to enjoy the people that I'm enjoying watching. I'm enjoying watching Frank. I'm going to jump into that. That's my main person. I'm trying to think who else I'm really. Katie's been fun. Katie's been like especially fun, especially this week. I'm going to enjoy that. Even Adam and Steve are like they're a little quirky stuff. I'm going to enjoy them. But the game structure itself, unfortunately, I mean, you would think for a show that's been doing this for a bajillion years, they would know the issues with a game structure, but they still, every once in a while, they like forget what they have to do to keep the game flowing, and they don't include you can't go in back-to-back weeks and that type of mechanic. And then we get this, and just got to go along with it.
Honestly, like until you got to the game mechanics, like that exact sentence could have been said about us. You've been doing this a bajillion years.
Look, I can't say much. I had my mic unplugged during the finale time. Yeah, so again, but we do this. We all try. We try our best. But you know what? Sometimes it doesn't work. Every once in a while, your mic gets unplugged, and you forget to make sure the same person can't go into elimination every single week. We all mess up. Just got to own it.
Yeah, Katie had a great episode this week. I think also like this is becoming like Adam's most likable season.
Yep.
And we'll get into it, but going back to sort of like an editing complaint, this episode kicks off with a flashback to 2 challenges ago. In fact, I went back to 2 episodes ago because I was like, was this last week? I was like so confused that we're just randomly getting a scene where Sam is like, oh, I can't believe Frank didn't finish that challenge 2 challenges ago. I wish I had gotten an opportunity to see if I could do it. Meanwhile, like every other episode, we're seeing Sam quit and Frank's dealing with it. Now Sam, the one challenge she allegedly was going to do, she's complaining that Frank robbed her of the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very odd. Devin also talking about how much he likes Sam. A fun combo that you didn't expect to see, that we don't see play out again for the rest of the episode. I don't know if we'll see it play out again come next week, but Devin's a big fan of Sam. So good for Sam. He's got Devin in her corner.
But then we get a FaceTime call home that for me will go down as one of the best family calls home I've ever seen on any iteration of the challenge.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's, if you ever wanted to know what it would be like to date Ashley, we have the immediate, and I think this is a conversation that they probably have a lot, the intensity of Ashley just unloads on this poor fellow who I would love to know if he knew Ashley at all before starting to date her. If he had a history, watched the challenge, watched any of this. I don't know. But Ashley unloads on him about Anissa mainly, about how much Anissa sucks. But then kind of twists into something about the boyfriend not doing something right. But I don't know. And then it ends with Ashley, in only Ashley fashion, making sure he does not use her credit card because she will know and she will lock him out. And he agrees.
Honestly, if you want to know what it's like to date me, it's not that dissimilar from this. But what I loved is that it was very dramatic both ways. Like, yes, Ashley like goes absolutely apeshit on him, but he starts the call being like, "Oh, I can finally see you. I love you so much." Like it's extremely intense in two directions.
We need a blood versus water. Get him on the season. He seemed like an
Get
athletic guy,
him on the
strong
show.
guy.
I want to see them, just the two of them with a show. Like, give us one less episode of ridiculousness, and I want to follow the two of them. Like, I need to see how they got together.
Did Ashley have one of like the home turfs? I don't think so, right? Did she? Because we don't recall seeing him.
I think I watched like Karas and CTs, and then.
But yeah, you need the Ashley home turf to get a sense of this bloke. Is bloke still using bloke? Can we use that? That's a fun one.
Who's we? Like
Society?
A white man in 1800s Boston? Like what? Who's like who's we? So as I complained about the editing, I have to also give my flowers to the editing because I think Katie lecturing Adam and then giving sort of the all-star Katie edition of like the CT pro tips from 40. We get Katie's masterclass 101. I wish we had gotten more of these, right? We only get 2 of them. I would like to hear many more of Katie's rules for the challenge.
Yeah, it goes back to Kellyanne with the dogs. Like they set up a great segment of Kellyanne comparing everyone to dogs. You only get one and then like another one at the end. Here again, Katie's masterclass. We get a couple of things here and then one more at the end, but it's really just a very limited dose. I would love to know the full scope of Katie's lessons. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want them to reveal all of her secrets. Expose her game like that. But it was very fun to see Adam so like receptive. He was very much wasn't like pushing back on Katie, wasn't like condescending her, wasn't doing anything. He was like, "Yeah, teach me. What teach me your ways."
It was very cute. Like jumping to the end, Adam actions rule number 1, which is like after winning an elimination, like don't smile and wave, mean mug them. And then Adam goes on to win the elimination and then gives him like a like an absurd reaction.
To go back to Kellyanne, it would look like a pug trying to make the pug face.
There you go.
Dang.
But seriously, if Katie Cooley's masterclass was like available on Masterclass, take my money. Like whatever Rachel Robinson is for fitness, I need Katie to be for like rules of life. I'll watch that YouTube.
Are masterclasses still happening? I know they popped up a big during COVID. Are those still like a thing?
I feel like I've seen like podcast advertisements for it.
Okay.
Let's see. We have time to kill.
It's like TED Talks, right? Are TED Talks still happening? I think so.
Those are still happening. It's a lot of work you're giving me, Brian, to look into.
I'm sorry. I know. It's a lot of...
Let's see. Masterclass. We get promo code. Okay, let's see. At work, gifts, browse. Film and TV. Let's see who's available. This is a little... Let's see. Do you think anyone's doing a podcasting masterclass?
I mean, there has to be. That would be crazy if someone wasn't.
Okay, the number 1 hit when you do podcasting is Emmy winner and Reading Rainbow host LeVar Burton teaches you his techniques for more dynamic, authentic storytelling.
I feel like this is a RHAP idea. They should probably do something with this.
I don't know. Okay. So we also, I kind of thought we were going to kick off right with Ashley and Anissa kind of making up. We get that later in the episode. I think giving more credit or credence to your groundbreaking theory that like this wasn't really a fight, you know, that like, okay, they just like Anissa apologizes and Ashley's like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, they were just trying. I mean, appreciate Anissa's honesty. Like she was, her apology was very heartfelt. She had a lot of regret, a lot of remorse. So kudos to her. owning up to it. Again, Ashley just couldn't give two shits. She was like, you can insult me all you want. If you're a good competitor, I would be like, fine. Like, insult me. I don't care. Just like be better at this. And you can call me a redneck every day. I don't care. But you stink. So that's not great.
I like you stink. All right, but let's get to the daily. I think nothing else really before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the monster truck daily. We have a pushover. Each pair is on top of a moving truck. One person is tied to a rope swing. The other person is pushing them off the truck into the road to collect rings. There are a few golden rings that count for bonus. Once they collect the rings, they give it back to their partner. The partner hops across a little balance beam, puts it on a hook. Whoever collects the most wins. You cannot, the key TJ rule of the week, you cannot transport more than one ring at a time. If you do, you will be docked the penalty, as Corey found out himself.
All I could think about while you're saying that is a few golden rings. Here's what I liked about the challenge. How about that? I liked that there were two distinct roles. Like, it felt like it mattered who was the swinger and they still had things to do and grab, and then someone, I guess the swinger, swingy, whatever. Mm-hmm. There were two distinct roles. Sometimes I could just do less, So I liked that. I also thought some of the editing was funny. Like Devon swinging, like that was extremely iconic. Like the way they were sort of like slowing her down. She's making hilarious faces. I liked that there was a clear tiebreaker. I could see a world where they didn't do that. And they were like, well, whoever got the most rings in the fastest time. And we're like, whatever.
Yep.
I did not like that I had to see it over and over and over again. Like it became too many teams.
Yeah, they did a decent job, yada, yada. The only thing that was fun was each team it felt different. Like every team, not every team, but most teams had something going on with them that it was like interesting to watch, whether, it was Corey doing the one penalty, Sam spinning around like a thimble, Katie and Veronica going by themselves and not doing well at all, Ashley grabbing it by the feet. Like a lot of them had things going on. But it is interesting that it does seem like now this is the second daily of, I guess, the 4 or 3 since the Star Invitational, that it has been a pretty good advantage to be big and small. Like we saw with like holding off over the skyscraper, very similar-ish to this, where you need like one strong person and one smaller, lighter person that's more flexible to go grab something and do something. And we see Fessel and Amber do well on that one. You see them do well here. It does seem like the equal teams, someone like Katie and Veronica or Steve and Adam, even though they did well in the first one, here they more struggle because they don't have that distribution of weight.
Yeah, and poor Katie and Veronica, who are just like the worst like physical combination to do this challenge. Yeah, it is true. Except for like a team like Big T and Corey, which you'd think would have a very similar physical ability to Fessel and Amber based on just like similarity in size. But they kind of flop Tina on this. But we haven't heard much from them, and we get Corey saying like, I want to win because it's time for us to go in and get a star. And we have Big T saying, absolutely not. I do not want to go in and get a star. I think I side with Corey here for a team like Big T and Corey because, like, I think people will underestimate them or not be threatened by them. Your mileage may vary on that for the final. So if they can eke out a win, and they'd have to like swing the house to not put in Steve and Adam. They'd have to like swing the house to put in a team they felt like they could beat. I think if they get a star early on, they're probably, I would think, a lock to keep their star because people would want to keep them in the final. I know Big T doesn't want to risk it and go home. I feel like her game style is more like, let me last as long as possible. But like, I think I'm Team Corey here in that his mindset.
Yeah, I think probably so, but I think it's become very clear now. Like they've done this type of format now a couple of times with like earning your spot in the final, where it's not going to reach a point where they're just going to end the season and you don't have a shot. So like that shouldn't be a debate. Like, oh, what if we never really have a real shot at earning a star or whatever? Because at the very least, like we saw in the other All-Stars, there'll be some sort of last challenge and you can win it that way and you can get in and do something. So to me, if you're worried about getting your star, you're going to have a shot. You're not going to run out of time. You're not going to you're not going to just be standing on the sidelines with nothing. I do think because of how much this Adam and Steve ball is rolling, they're going to be going in. So I think at a different time, there might be other names on the board that maybe you can go up against someone else of similar elk, and maybe you can get the star that way. But right now, the Steve and Adam train is just cooking along. That until they win or win a daily or go home, they're going in every week. So unless you're prepared to go against them, that's really all you can do.
Yeah, so the other reason I like Corey and Big T thinking about throwing themselves in is I do think they really are better off controlling their destiny of who they go in against rather than being a team that later down the road, like Fessel and Amber, select as a team they want to go against, or not being able to control who they're against or whatever. I see, that's interesting. I hear you, and obviously you're right in that Adam and Steve don't even let it go to a vote. They just put themselves in. It's that definitive. But I was kind of hoping, jumping ahead, right? Fessel and Amber win this challenge. I thought Steve and Adam's only hope was convincing Fessel and Amber to use their social capital to change the House vote and then throw themselves down. I still feel like I'd like to see where the alliances really lie in the House. But I'm supposed to understand that there's this other large alliance cooking that maybe could flip the House vote, especially when Steve and Adam do have their own vote. I think Veronica and Katie and Nicole and Mel could be flipped if, the price is right with whatever Fessel and Amber's pitch is. So, I'm still not willing to say that the right team in power can't flip the House vote in their favor and that they're just cooked regardless.
But wait, so flip it on who?
I don't know, right? I'm just saying, so jumping ahead, I guess, I thought rather than Steve and Adam's ridiculous pitch to ask for Devin and Leroy, which we can really talk about, I thought their best option to get out of this was saying, this is why I said I wasn't sure what happens if two non-star holders go in. Fessel and Amber, don't you want to go get your star this week? What if we all vote in Nicole and Mel, Frank and Sam? What if we put in Frank and Sam? You're going to beat Frank and Sam in an elimination. Or, frankly, whoever they want. Anissa and Ashley M. Tell your allies that Anissa and Ashley M have to be the House vote, and then you go down and get your star. And I've got my 3 teams voting for you for that.
And then the pitch would be that you could just, Adam and Steve would say you could just steal our star.
Yeah, sure. Steal our star. To just break up the monotony. Because I also thought then that exposes some of the alliances in the House. Maybe Fessel and Amber go home. That would be great. Or you piss off some other people who think we're all working in this block of 10 teams, but obviously they're not working in those 10 teams. So who really is working together? And that's the only chance you really have to shake something up. What they end up doing makes no real sense to me. But or really, Davon and Shane. What about targeting Davon and Shane?
So I actually thought it was a good pitch by Adam and Steve.
But what's the end result? What? I don't think that saves them from going in next week. What does that do? If they betray Devin and Leroy, which I don't think they were going to do, let's do something more realistic. Maybe they vote in Ashley K and Dario. If they just vote in a star holder they're not working with.
But why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they betray? What is Devin and Leroy to Fessel and Amber? Where
apparently very close allies, right? I don't know that. I'm just watch what they.
But that's where I think Fessel again is missing the boat. Leroy and Devin have other people clearly ahead. Devin's smart. He's not he should Fessel should know about Devin. He's not going to want Fessel and Amber in the final. And Leroy clearly has other people, at least Turbo and Nani, ahead of him as another star holder. So. And if it gets down to it and Leroy and Devin are in a position, Fessel and Amber are going to get the snake. They're going to be the one getting screwed over. Again, to my point that I think I made last week or the week before, this is a quick game. We're going to be very close. Make your move now. Get out Adam and Steve or Devin and Leroy right now. Knock out one of the big teams. and then like get the ball rolling, and then it makes it easier for you if you have to go into elimination. You don't have to go up against one of those teams. It was right there for them. I don't understand why they wouldn't do it.
So here's the problem. I think Fessel and Amber have already established the game they're going to play. So you're convincing somebody to play a different game than they clearly have demonstrated they're on a trajectory of playing by putting in the teams they put in. That said, I think what I failed to consider the first time we were evaluating Fessel and Amber's move is that Fessel, right or wrong, and I think it's wrong, seems to be operating from a position where he thinks him and Amber can beat any single team that they go up against. I don't think Fessel and Amber are worried about any team in the final. I don't think they're worried about any team in elimination, and I don't think they're worried about their ability to get a star. I feel like Fessel thinks he's playing like an unlosable game and just wants to avoid being the biggest target in the house. He's fine to go to the final with Leroy and Devin. I think he probably rightfully thinks he could beat them easily. I don't think he views them as a difficult team to beat.
But I mean, they're already making themselves like the biggest target. They've now won 2 of the dailies. They're becoming the big target without any of the benefit. Like they don't have a star right now, so they're a huge target, and they still need to do something to get to the final with all of their biggest threats still here. So all they've done since the start of this game is made themselves very clearly the team to beat, and they have not eliminated anyone good. They still don't have a star. And they're letting other people start to percolate other ideas about how to like counteract them. And they have done nothing to benefit themselves at this point.
Yeah, I think they think it's a benefit that Devin and Leroy won and they didn't get targeted, right? Like they think, well, Adam and Steve haven't been winning. What are you offering me? You have no social capital in the house. You're not winning. Short of giving us a star, like that was the best pitch. Have them come in, and if we win, we'll give you a star. But if they lose, which they could very, very well lose to Devin and Leroy, now Devin and Leroy have permission to send Fessel and Amber in, and they've demonstrated an ability to win dailies when Fessel and Amber don't win them. So I'm not saying it's the right move. I agree with you that Beth and Janae were the wrong move. I think, well, Kellyanne and Sylvia were sent in by Leroy and Devin. I think here, Adam and Steve, sorry. I don't disagree with you, especially about the initially bad move. I just think Fessel and Amber are playing a different game than you think they should be playing or that you want them to play, right? But I don't think it's that boneheaded because it did work last week. I don't know that Devin and Leroy would have taken the shot at them, and I don't know that what they've done actually prevents the other big teams from eventually firing at them first, and then they're screwed. I just think they don't care about going to the final with Devin and Leroy. I don't think they're threatened by any of these teams, and they just want to survive for the short game, win whatever last elimination you said that like they'll have a chance to win. They're not worried about not being able to get a chance, and he's cocky and thinks he'll win the final.
I mean, he's won many times before, so I guess, Fessel should stick to that game plan.
But this is this is different. Like this is actually, if I look at the field, I think he's head and shoulders, him and Amber together are head and shoulders the team to be favored to win the final. Based on what we've seen, the outcomes of the daily, and based on how we've seen, like we just said, the dailies seem to favor like one big partner, one small partner. Nobody can beat Amber B's endurance. She's demonstrated that in the final she won. It wouldn't be my game, but I think it's fair. I think they have the chops to potentially back it up and to just use the meat shield strategy and aligning with the big dogs. And then hopefully you get a shot to strike at them first. It's boring. It's boring TV, but I don't think it's like the dumbest thing I've ever seen on the show.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I just think they've had so much power so early on, and what they've accomplished is taking out Beth and Janae, Anissa, and Ashley, and just haven't done it. I don't know. I think if you have so much power so early on, and to in my opinion, squander it. But I guess if they think they're that cooked to the final, then they should play this game. But I could see this burning them very hard. And they're
definitely playing the I'd rather go to the final than become the new Adam and Steve. Because that's the other thing, right? If you get rid of if you put Devin and Leroy in against Adam and Steve, if a couple weeks ago, like I don't think Mel and Nicole would have been that different than Janae and Beth in terms of like physical threats. Like that to me is, if they got rid of Mel and Nicole, we'd say all they accomplished was getting rid of Mel and Nicole.
I mean, at least they're light. At least they're a little better than.
They're not winning the final. Like they're not.
No,
their win equity is to me the same.
But I mean, that's the interesting thing with this season. I think amazing. Like, I think there's really only a few teams that you can pinpoint to be like they have a chance to win. And I think with the power that they've had, Fessel and Amber at this point, they could have knocked out 2 of them. And they could have just been
but then they become the last
left.
remaining target. That's the point, right? Like if they let Adam and Steve, like any combination of Adam and Steve and Devin and Leroy and Nani and Turbo, like take hits, then they're in the firing squad and they've got to get to the end still. I would rather see that game. I would rather see them take big swings, big shots. Like Adam and Steve, their backs against the ropes. They're like, F it. Give us whoever. Like they're playing a very different game. I think Amber and Fessel are playing we've got the power. We're going to move slow. And if at the end of the day, if I end up in the final with a big threat, I think I'm going to beat them anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is like the All-Stars finals are a little different. Like Amber's endurance is much more built for like a challenge proper final. The All-Stars final is a lot more checkpoint, stop and start. So they might not be as well set up for a final that maybe they think they are. But who knows?
We'll see. I mean, it would be fun to see it blow up in his face too. Like he had and maybe that's where the edit's going. It's like he had all these opportunities, all of these fun and exciting pitches are being pitched, and then womp womp, they get to the jungle and they put in like a very boring, like whatever team. And then they get smoked.
When an episode ends with them 2 talking, we know up next week. Look out for them.
Anything else from the daily kind of stopped us at Big T and Corey?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, Devin and Leroy were the other team that had 11. So the tiebreaker went to them, to Ember and Fessel. Yeah, nothing really else. It was interesting to see how many people felt safe. We had like the Nani confessional saying she felt safe. The Anissa confessional saying she felt safe. Devin had a confessional saying he felt safe. So the roommate thing, a lot of people feeling safe.
Which I kind of thought from an editing perspective that was going to pay off. Like, oh, maybe they are going to do this Devin and Leroy plan because Devin and Leroy were like saying so definitively, like, fat chance I'm never going to get sent in by Fessel.
Do you think could the pitch have been better if it was Turbo and Nani? Like, I feel like Amber and Nani have had some beef, and I mean, I don't know, like everyone hates Turbo, so I feel like that could have been almost a better pitch.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point because I think Turbo and Nani are bigger threats to win the final than they are to win any given elimination. I mean, sorry, any given daily, right? Because like what you really don't want is the person you send in to win and then to win the daily. So I probably like that better than Devin and Leroy, and they more mirror a threat to Fessel and Amber by being similar sort of builds and team compositions.
Yep.
The only worry I would have with that is like pissing off Nani pisses off a really big chain of like alliance in terms of the House vote, probably. But I don't know that the House vote would like send in Fessel and Amber at this point, but you just like you do piss off a lot of people by sending in Nani.
It does seem like so Frank and Sam are seemingly trying to like get together some of the weaker teams. It does feel like that is where the Fessel and Amber spots should, like they should be the leader of that. Like instead of Frank being the leader, like, they should go to Frank and be like, let us be the leader. Let us build together this ragtag group of people. And then all of a sudden you got all the votes. So even though you're making yourself the target, they could pick off the other star holders. Like that should be Fessel should be getting in with Sam, and it seems like Devin's the one doing that.
Always one step ahead of Fessel.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ada's prom party was fun. This is something I wish they'd bring a little bit more to the challenge proper.
Yeah, again, I always wonder like what's like the group chat going into the season of we're gonna have an 80s night. Is this do producers have these costumes on standby to give them to them? Or are they told, all right, we might have like an 80s theme, bring like a 70s, bring all these different options, and then it's discussed. You need to know how these the party night theme gets decided here.
Yeah, add that to the list of questions after why the edit, and then like who coordinate party. And then the hookup I didn't see coming when Sam and Anissa were bonding over, their physical self-perception and their abilities. I didn't think that was going to end up with a late night hookup, but it did. Slay.
An all-time one and done hookup between Anissa and Sam that we'll never probably see them ever together on camera in the history of our lives again. And they go out with a bang. Good for them.
Literally. Well, that's funny because Sam does say like maybe I'll see Nice after the show. Who knows?
Nice is always working on that social game, so always good to have Sam in your back pocket.
That post Valentine's Day romance episode.
Mm-hmm. Frank had a fun FaceTime with his husband back home, talking through his patience with Sam, growing as a person. I am waiting for that to explode. It does feel like there's going to be a daily where Sam is particularly bad and Frank is going to lose it. I'm waiting for it. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope this is true growth from Frank. I mean, we only see his blow up in a confessional setting, but it does feel like the frustration can only grow to only go so far.
I do feel like he's a little bit resigned at this point to lose, but we'll see. Like, especially that when his husband is like, anything is just like the cherry on top because like I'm the Sunday or whatever he says. Like, it is what it is. So I'm hoping he survives without a major blow up from Frank, but we'll see.
And then poor Steve has been thinking about his All-Stars 4 final, screw up where he, I don't even remember exactly what he did, but he like didn't follow the rules. He had like 2 stars at once, couldn't do it or something like that. But that's been plaguing him for many moons. Obviously, he didn't know the whole Adam beef of it all, so that wasn't the part he was coming out of that season thinking about. He was coming out thinking about how close he was to winning that season. And amazingly, if he does win that season, what a difference, the Laurel and Cara dynamic is. We're not dealing with the Laurel win and Cara. Like maybe that whole dynamic goes a little bit different into the next season. Who knows? But a great fork in the road moment is Steve blowing the All-Stars 4 final.
I don't know if this is going to be helpful or hurtful to Steve. Not that he'll hear this, but like, I remember thinking I was shocked that Steve came back after All-Stars 2, that like he was invited back to All-Stars 4. So just be happy that you're getting the call for 3 out of 5 All-Star seasons, and you'll probably get the call for 6 because you've been such a key part of this season. Like, you're cashing checks, baby, and like you're on borrowed time. And like, I couldn't believe he was brought back. So, Mitch watched your whole career.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like,
be happy about it.
If they be, I mean, they're already, like you said, making a big run or a big focal point this season. If they go to like a final, Adam and Steve, like I think John A is like the female face of Challenge All Stars, but can make the case for the male side. It's Steve for these 5 seasons.
There you go.
Put that on his Mount Rushmore stats.
All right, at the deliberation, Adam speaks up, and we get a lot of the vets being like, oh, I can't believe you gave up, like Devin, Nani, whatever. I can't believe he threw himself in. This was not someone giving up. Like, this was someone sparing us the time. I don't think if there was a time to fight, it was before this. I was happy, honestly, that they didn't make us go through the unanimous vote again.
Yeah, I groaned when Nani was like, I was shocked when Adam just threw himself in. Like, all right, they saved everyone some breath from saying Adam and Steve, and maybe we would have had a throwaway vote that could have caused someone to like get fake mad at. We could have had that, but other than that, this was not of a throw-in.
So at the Jungle, were you surprised that they voted Ashley and Anissa? Did you get got again? Did you think there was a chance?
I did. I got. I'm so stupid. But I did. Puff. I was hoping, I'm like, you know what? They've done this thing now a couple times. They're really not going to do it again, right? Like, they're not going to do the whole rope and dope. At some point, the edit's going to be kind of leading us to the water, and we're going to drink it. But no, the water was poison, and Anissa and Ashley are going to
Not the water was poisoned. Yeah, so I wasn't sure, but I thought, okay, at least there's some edit around it. Like, at least we saw Ashley's phone call home. At least we saw stuff between Anissa and Sam, Anissa and Ashley. Like, I will settle for, like, at least the pair going into an elimination was a central focus of the episode, if not discussion around them going in.
But was there discussion about them going in? There was more just discussion. Like, they were just on.
No, I'm saying if we can't get discussion around them going in, at least they were central focus of the episode.
Yes, they were in the episode. They had scenes and they had a dynamic about themselves, but nothing about Fessel. Like, why? I just don't understand it. Why can't they tease the elimination and just have a Fessel and Amber conversation of being like, I don't know, did we take the big shot and go after Devin and Leroy? Or I'm still kind of upset about Anissa, the way she snaked me and Ride or Dies. Like, I don't know, what should we do? Why can't they just tease it like that? So at least we know the backstory going in of why it's Anissa and Ashley to some degree. I'm sure there's more to it, but at least give us something rather than, oh, looks like it's going to be Devin and Leroy. Psych. Let's go find out why. I don't get that.
It's like, it leaves me wondering, like, is a big group just actioning a big pregame plan? And, like, therefore, like, the edit doesn't feel like they can say, like, there's no rhyme or reason of why these 10 people, 5 teams are acting this way together, but, like, they've kind of come in locksteady. So now we don't really have, like, an edit. I don't think so. I just, like, it begs the question, like, is there no story that can be put together that would be coherent? Because what we're seeing is incoherent.
But, like, the story they tried to pitch us is Fessel doesn't feel like Anissa's a valuable number for him. He thought that before. Anissa voted for him in Ride or Dies. He has no relationship now with her. There's no reason to trust her. So why do they have to craft that before? Like, what are the producers asking them in confessionals? Can't they be like, in confessional, be like, Fessel, Anissa screwed you over in Ride or Dies. Are you worried about your relationship with him? And then just get Fessel being like, yeah, Anissa did screw me over in Ride or Dies. I don't know if I can trust her. Boom. There's your quote that you could slide in right before this elimination. And we can groan whether it's valid or not of enough of reason. But at least we have that going in, and it's not just like a fake rope-a-dope again of, like, we don't know. It could be anyone, like, coming into elimination. Like, that's not fun.
I love when you say rope-a-dope. Yeah,
it's becoming my go-to phrase for the season.
Yeah, it's great. I think, yeah, you're correct. Like, you are absolutely correct. Cut that clip, use it as your ringtone. I just, I think what is unsatisfying about it for me goes to the argument you and I were having before, which is, like, the most between this podcast and the actual episode, like, that was the most strategy that has been discussed between you and I and not anyone on the show. What's unsatisfying for me is, like, the why. Do I believe that Fessel put Anissa and Ashley in on the heels of Devin putting in Kellyanne and Sylvia, on the heels of Fessel putting in Beth and Janae, because, oh, he doesn't know where Anissa stands? No, I don't think that's true. There, like, what is the larger plan? Communicate to us the larger plan. Is it what, Robbie and people in the Facebook group were arguing on episode 2 and what I'm arguing now of, like, the meat shield plan, the I'm confident enough to go against anybody, so I want to make friends with the big dogs, and then I want to pick off the weaklings so that when we start eating each other, there's only, like, 1 or 2 opportunities for them to do that. Communicate that if that's the plan, and then at least it makes sense. And like you said, we can argue about whether that's right or wrong. I think we're sitting here as the audience having to even argue about what the rationale could possibly be, and that's a failure of the show in that case.
It's very odd. It's very odd how they're doing it. Like, All Stars usually is very good at telling a very coherent 42, 43-minute story for that particular episode. And they're just doing, like, it's such a weird season that I wonder, like, are there new people working on it? I don't know. Maybe they have a new editing crew for this season, trying something fresh. I don't know. But you would think as they're editing it, like, when they're, watching, like, the first couple episodes, they're like, ooh, we got something good here. Let's do it again. I can't. They need a better focus group. We'll screen them as you're editing it if you want, and we'll provide real-time feedback. Like send us the early.
I mean, we won't do
screeners.
that. We
I'll
won't do
take
it.
it.
Brian will do
I'll
it.
take it.
We will not do that.
I would have told them that was a very cool editing trick you did in episode 2. Don't ever do it again. And then we would have had a lot better episodes 3 and 4.
Preach. All right, let's go to Downpour, the elimination. It's making me thirsty thinking about it.
Yeah, to give some credit, I really enjoyed this elimination. Very fun. Done in 3 rounds. One person in a giant cube type thing. Another person standing up top on a platform with a hose, and they have to spray the water into the giant bucket with the other person defending it with a shield. They go 3 times. They swap in the middle, so one person goes twice, and whoever has the most water in their opponents, or I guess in their bucket, they win.
Yeah, I liked this elimination. I really liked it, especially I think it was like pretty well equalized for any of the teams. And here's the beauty of it. I was very ineloquently, for a change, explaining why I don't like Ashley complaining about Anissa, Frank complaining about Sam, like in the rivalries. This is the sweet, sweet justice of Rivals, is you bitch about your partner for 4 episodes, and then you yourself are the problem that gets you eliminated. Because we see in the first round, it was like more or less even. It was close. Then Ashley, Millionaire Mitchell, doesn't put her freaking goggles on when she's on defense, completely blows any chance they have of beating Sam and Steve Adam. And Steve and Adam win. There's like nothing that can be done in the 3rd round. It's just like a runaway. So all the bitching you did about Anissa, you're the reason you lost. And like, that's the beauty of Rivals, is like, you're not necessarily better than your rival because you think you're fitter or you work out more or whatever. Any given Sunday, someone's skill set could matter, or you could be dumb and you could not put your goggles on. So sweet, sweet revenge. I enjoyed that.
Can I get my tinfoil hat for a quick second?
Hold on. Yeah.
Okay. Tinfoil hat.
Oh, I thought you actually brought Tim. I was going to die.
Ashley knew taking the goggles off would be quite the problem, and this was an elaborate quit.
Aren't there easier ways to quit?
This is a way to quit without saying I want to quit. This was, I got no shot of winning. I don't feel like being here anymore. I'm going home.
Wow. I don't think that's true, but I think it's worth continuing to say.
Tinfoil hat.
Like, I just think like to take your goggles off is like diabolical. Like, you could just be bad.
She's Millionaire Mitchell.
She's not like that good. Because it's not good. It makes her look stupid. Look at the rant I just went on, you know? Like, she could have just in earnest not let water go in. You couldn't tell. I mean, look, that's interesting. I'd like to keep following that this week. You know? You're interviewing anyone? Like, ask her to her face.
I'm not. No one. They weren't even offered up this week, so we got no one this week.
That's interesting. Let's keep watching that. If the relationship czar wants to look into how pissed Anissa is at Ashley.
But yeah, I mean, it was a very fun elimination. It was a good one. It was a fun structure. We need to come up with a better word than structure too. We need to go to this thesaurus, but good structure.
That's why you come here, ladies and gentlemen, because for $1 million, I was not going to guess that you said she threw the challenge. And now, cut to tomorrow, everyone's like, she threw the challenge, I'm sure. Like, you know?
Well, what needs to be thrown, apparently, is Adam's shoes, according to TJ, are diabolically bad, and they need to be burned at the stake because they are hideous.
It's one of the biggest lectures we've seen out of TJ in history, which is crazy considering a much bigger lecture has been deserved in a few of these challenges on this season. And like, I don't like the toe shoes, the like water shoes with the toes. That's what Adam was wearing. But like, they were the perfect shoe for this challenge. Like, I think he was kind of in the right.
Also, if I've won 3 straight eliminations, I'm not doing anything, TJ. I'm keeping everything the same. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not shifting anything. I'm same foot into the jungle. I'm starting with that. Not doing anything different.
Yeah. I mean, if you wear toe shoes, you deserve to get roasted. It's fine. And Adam can take it. Again, very likable episode for Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I think he and Steve are like riding an upward trajectory of the underdog edit. So good on them.
They need a win. They just need to win a daily to get their name out of the elimination mouth and get someone cooking. If they could just get one daily win next week and get anyone else in, I think they could shift things off. The tie could change. They won't automatically be going in the week after. They just need a daily win in the worst possible way.
Well, it doesn't look like it's likely to be next week because between the last scene and the episode into the next week on, looks like it's going to be trivia. We get this last scene of Sam showing Frank a journal she's keeping of like every challenge, who won it, who went, in which order. And Frank's like, ooh, make me a little chart. Then we find out it's going to be trivia. You think it's going to be trivia about what has happened so far? Like, will Sam's journal come into play, or they just kind of shoehorn that in?
I mean, it wasn't a fight, but based off the edit, are Frank and Sam going home next week?
I thought like Frank and Sam could win the challenge.
They could, or they can go home and they go into elimination. I don't know.
Yeah. And Challenge All Stars likes to do trivia around the Challenge franchise,
Right?
Historically. So, will that be Steven Adams' day? It doesn't look like it's gonna be super physical. Will it be Sam and Frank's day? Will it be some under-edited team? Who knows? Can't follow anything.
Ashley's last words to Anissa were quite harsh. I think following the sentiment of a lot of people on the old Twitter webs that none of Anissa's friends are real and they just keep her around because they can beat her in the end. Harsh, but some truth.
Choking on it. All right.
That's it. Episode 4. We'll be back for episode 5 next week. As you mentioned earlier, if you didn't catch it, it's in our feed, so I don't know how you would have missed it. But if you're not subscribed, then you would have missed it. So subscribe first. Rob is.
I missed it.
Well, Allie missed it. You're not subscribed.
Participation, not listening.
Rob's website.com/challenge feed. But I joined the Reality Flash to go through the rumored, highly speculated, seemingly flying out cast of season 41. Got a lot of the names out there in the old streets. We discussed them all, the veterans, the rookies, a lot of fun names to discuss. So you check that out. You can also follow me on Twitter, Cohen Brian _ challenge wrap-ups on TikTok. I know I use it like every day, but I don't think I've posted on my TikTok since TikTok ban has been reversed. So that's not great by me. I'll try to get back on that, but I'll keep following it there. Follow you?
Follow me nowhere. Join us in the Facebook group. We have some 5-star reviews. Oh, Slice, someone hates me because I'm extremely left-wing. Oh, okay. Shout out to Anthony A. I hope you're enjoying yourself the last few months.
Double front of the alphabet name.
Sorry?
Anthony A. Both the front of the alphabet, no matter how you want to cook it.
Oh, well, yeah. Anthony first. Lee Neva and Jay Drano. Thank you for your support. And that's it. No new girl last week. Hopefully new girl this week. We'll see.
The 2025 streak comes to an end. It's a great run.
But it was scheduled. It was a scheduled miss.
Okay, then it's still cooking. Because you plan to miss it. So if you plan to miss it and you miss it, is that really missing it? So percolate on that. We'll be back next week for episode 5. Till then, have a good one.